In this video, I want to walk through some very vital things you're going to want to avoid when using an extractor, when you have to use an extractor as a detailer. That's going to save you a ton of headache and basically time and suffering. But before we get into that, just a quick reminder, I am hosting a live business training via Zoom on April 4th. You can register your spot for free with the link in the YouTube description box below. It's wilsonautodetailing.com/register. I'm going to be screen sharing the exact formula I built and playbook in 90 minutes to scale your detailing business to 6 figures without hiring employees, without overspending on products, and without trying to get more customers all the time. These are the new economy strategies that work today, not just a cool fancy website, not hiring a marketing agency. This is the stuff that gives you the control over your business, puts the income you want in your pocket, and allows you to stop doing disaster details and start actually scaling a real business for real income. So if you are like me and you're an entrepreneur first and a detailer second, register your spot. You do not want to miss this with the link in the YouTube description box below. Now, the first thing I want to highlight that you are going to want to avoid when you're doing an interior detail and you're forced to do an extractor, and really I say forced to use an extractor because I don't ever pull out an extractor unless I absolutely have to. The number one thing I want to highlight here is to be cautious of using formulas or chemicals that have a lot of suds. The reason for this, and you'll see it in this video, is that when you are using an extractor and you're pressing that water into the carpet, depending on how high the PSI is, it's going to be difficult to pull up all of those suds if the particular concentration or solution is overly sudsy. The reason this can also be a problem is because those suds are going to dry in the carpet, and it can often cause the carpet to dry kind of in this crusty way, and you spend hours and hours and hours running the extractor over the carpet trying to flush it out completely, and it basically takes forever. The simple solution to this is to actually use a solution that is lower foam. Yes, there are extractor solutions that are lower foam that by design do not suds up as much because this is such a big problem. Now, in addition to that, the simple way to take care of this, because sometimes you have to use a high foaming or high sud solution, which you'll see me doing here because you just like the chemical so much. This is DS2 and it's from a company called Release It, and basically this is a fantastic extraction chemical. It's one that I use all the time. It is not low foam though, and when you use a steamer on top of it, you can see there are actually a lot of suds. When you avoid the steamer, it's not quite as bad. When you include the steamer, you do get some suds. It's a lot of heat and it's a lot of pressure, right? And you're adding in extra water, so you're going to get some suds, but it never really bothers me. So I would still categorize this as like a medium foamy, medium sudsy solution product, right? Now, the easiest way to avoid the problem of kind of those fibers crusting over like I've described is to simply treat the area with a peroxide finisher before the carpet dries. These come in all shapes and sizes. You can buy them from Carpet Cleaning Industries specifically, or you can grab something like the P&S peroxide finisher, which comes in as one product in their 3-tiered carpet cleaning system. You simply spray that over the fibers. I like to work it in with a brush, and it's a brush that is only reserved for something like this, so it's a brush that I don't use to clean, right? And I wash it in between each time I use it on different vehicles, and that peroxide finisher essentially is going to neutralize those chemicals, so you're not going to have that drying, hardening happening. The next thing I want to highlight when you're using as a detailer an expensive extractor like the Mighty Light 8070 here is you can often be disappointed with the results you're getting, and you'll see this kind of on the GoPro in different shots as I go over and over and over and over an area with the extractor. It seems to really not improve all that much. Here's basically the way I would categorize the priority of extractor, let's say like services, right? So an extractor gives us suction, it gives us pressure from the water, right? It kind of atomizes the water and sprays it, and it gives us heat. Those are like the 3 primary, let's say, things that we get from an extractor. I would prioritize suction over all else, okay? And specifically in the example I'm highlighting here, I want to say I would prioritize suction over heat. Part of the reason is because generally speaking, even when you have a hot water extractor, you would be surprised the difference in end result from the hot water extractor or just, let's just say, cold or room temperature water is actually not that big. The second thing I would highlight here is when you have a steamer like the VX5000, which I'm using in this video, though it's not what I suggest for most detailers who are on a budget. I suggest the McCulloch steamers on Amazon, and I'll of course hook those up in the YouTube description box below. But what I'm trying to get at here is the suction will trump the heat, especially when you use a steamer in your pre-treatment before you pull out the extractor. The next obvious problem that you're going to see in the video here is the head of an extractor is relatively big, right? And there's really no way around this unless you're using a tiny Bissell machine. And so there are going to be areas that are actually pretty hard to extract. And some of these areas are, again, in this Sequoia where I've moved the 3rd rows of seats out. You've got those metal areas that I'm steaming over right now where the basically clips of the bottom of the seat clip in and then they hold the seat in the back area. Well, I'm going to extract over these areas, but what you can see is that the carpet actually comes to an end, right? It's kind of cut around those metal areas where the seats clip in. And so those small areas, tight areas, hard to get an extractor. Here's generally what I like to do. Rather than spend a bunch of time extracting in those areas, I will take my steamer, and after I foam everything up like this with the nylon bristle brush attachment, I'm going to take that head off of my steamer. I'm gonna put on kind of the single stream hose shot, right, on my steamer, and then I can hold my steamer at a 45-degree angle and I can push the stain, especially if it's a spill, out of the carpet by stuffing a microfiber towel underneath the carpet right there and underneath those metal rings, and using that 45-degree angle and the high pressure and vapor from the steam to push out any liquid onto the microfiber towel. That's how I address a lot of these smaller areas. I will use the steamer to push the stain out rather than trying to extract something out. The other option is simply to use a smaller extractor like the Bissell Spot Pro or a little green machine. Those also will work, but this is a much faster way to do it, and it's actually pretty effective because in some sense you are literally getting rid of the stain altogether because you're pushing it completely out of the carpet because you've met an area where the carpet ends and you have the luxury to do that. And the last thing that you should avoid when you're using an extractor, or make sure you do, is avoid not using a pre-treatment enzyme cleaner and make sure you do use an enzyme pre-treatment. Here's the bottom line from extracting a ton of carpet. Here's what I can tell you. If you're going to be extracting carpet anyways, you are going all out, right? You're kind of like going full metal jacket cleaning the carpet, and you're going to be using your steamer and sudsing things up and just making a big mess anyways. You might as well use a pre-treatment enzyme cleaner, just because the bottom line is that the stuff that's in all of the fibers of those carpets is going to be organic material at some point, because you're stepping in with your shoes, people are touching the carpet, people are throwing food on the carpet, and so if you're going to go all out anyways, you might as well do a pre-treatment. It makes no sense whatsoever just to use a carpet shampoo. It's a total waste of time, and it is not going to give you the results that you want, at least not as good of results as you want. Now guys, make sure before you leave to go in the YouTube description box below if you're looking to purchase any of these things, because I'm going to make sure to link these up in a very organized way of exactly what you should do if you're on a budget and exactly what you should do if you're trying to go a little bit more expensive and you're a pro detailer trying to like upgrade your game here. So there's a difference between, I think, what you should do depending on what kind of person you are. So I will organize that in the YouTube description box below. In the same place, you will find the link to register for the live training on April 4th. If you are an entrepreneur and you want to turn detailing into a real income, this is the place for you. You can register for free with that link, wilsonautodetailing.com/register. Guys, thank you so much for watching, and as always from Luke here at Wilson Auto Detailing, remember, a great detailer is always learning, and I will see you in the next video.